Okay, welcome to Livia Viana, who's joining me here today. Livia is a Senior Salesforce Consultant at Swan Technology Solutions. And really, thank you for joining me in conversation as part of ADAPT's Amazing Women in Technology series. Welcome, Livia.
Hello. Hi.
I guess just to sort of start things off, why I wanted to have a chat with you here today was, I guess, to say how impressed I was and indeed inspired I was when I saw you a couple of weeks ago in person in front of close to 10,000 people in Sydney at the Sydney Salesforce World Tour. I mean, everything else aside, I mean, that's no mean feat in itself, getting out in front of that many people. And it prompted me in really wanting to understand a bit more about your journey as a woman in technology, and particularly as a role model for other young women who are considering their own sort of careers in technology as well. So I'd really like to, I guess, kick things off, Livia, and just sort of get a bit more background on your journey, if you like, some of the specific challenges you might have faced over the years in IT and how you've navigated them yourself.
Yes. I am originally from Brazil, and I arrived in Australia in 2016, but I started to work in IT in 2018. I knew that I wanted to work with IT because I am good with technology, and then I searched and found out about Salesforce, and I started studying, and I was able to transition into IT career because of this specialization I have. And I think that's kind of the door, like that women and other people who are looking to start working in IT should maybe try, because if you specialize in something new, probably there aren't many other people who are specialists. So it's your chance to begin, like it was my chance, because technology is always evolving and the technologies are always changing. So I kind of see you are almost starting from the same level as everyone when a new technology is coming, because everyone has to begin from zero for that new thing. Of course, there are people transitioning, they already work in IT, and for them it's going to be easier because they will have some transferable skills, but there's always a room to start. I faced a lot of challenges, and I think women in general, because there are studies, and I've watched TED Talks about that women in general, we have to work much harder and we have to excel in order to be on the same level as a man that will be regular. I think there were studies proving that, talking about salary, that women with the highest grade will receive the same salary of a man that will be on, average grade. So this in turn became a big thing for me, because I had to work really hard, and I had to study really hard, and sometimes it's the nature of who I am. I'm very productive, but sometimes you end up having to push yourself too much and like have a burnout, for example. So women in general, we already carry more work, like at home. We have this nature in our beings, and then at work as well, we end up having to sacrifice because we have to prove more and more than other people. So I think this for me is the biggest challenge for a woman to in any field, I guess. But it's just my opinion.
No, that's an important opinion as well. So I think that when you sort of, I guess, talking there about advancing your career in that sort of male-dominated industries you touched on, I think one of the things you said, which was really interesting, is that I think this holds true for many people in general, is that really looking for those new sort of technology areas to focus on rather than trying to really compete in that sort of very crowded field, which is what we typically lean into, which I think is really great advice, because particularly when you look at some of the emerging techs around, data, AI, that sort of thing, and indeed, cloud itself, there are, I think, a lot more potential opportunities in some of those areas. But ultimately, most organizations are actually struggling to find people to work in those areas. So I think what you're saying there is search out those sort of potentially niche and emerging areas which right now have that high demand in place. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So building on that, when you think about, if you like, a classic question about career milestones, obviously, 6 years into your sort of IT journey here, many more years to go, of course. But if you think about that 6 years today, what would be some of those sort of career milestones that stand out? And I think in general, what that career in IT has actually helped you achieve as well.
So the first career milestone was actually entering and getting a job and completing the probation and everything. Then I guess then being recognized about that. So Salesforce has certifications, and I because I am studying, I'm a person who likes to study a lot. Then being able to get those certs, it was a big milestone for me, because then I could actually prove that, I could do that. Then once I was stable, I had volunteer. I started volunteer organization, and having more than 20 women now following my path due to my volunteer job, and having that recognized by Salesforce and speaking about that in front of 10,000 people, it was like a huge milestone, because I can see that all the work that I do to help women reduce the bias with the Latino community, it's working. So for me, it's really good to see that I have a voice now. So that's the main thing. And like having a career in IT just changed my life. Like I have a normal life, so I'm not struggling. I'm not struggling like to pay my bills. I'm not struggling to be happy, because I like what I do, and I have a happy life. So I think this is coming from where I come from. It's a huge milestone in the shift.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Can you maybe just build a bit more on, when you're talking about those sort of, 20 other women, now I guess in many ways you're sort of mentoring on their career journeys as well. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what that looks like? And I think also off the back of that, if you consider any sort of important mentors or role models for yourself as well, what does that really look like?
Yeah. So I never had a real mentor, someone who would say, Livia, I want to be your mentor, and that I could reach out and have calls. But during my journey, I always have I was lucky that I had good managers, and that they would recognize my work and tell me what to do, and give me the freedom to do what I wanted. So, for example, when I launched the volunteer project, I sat down with the owner of the organization, and I told him that I wanted to do that, and he actually helped me and he supported me. So I think this is not direct mentorship, but it's really empowering. So you don't need to officially be a mentor of someone, but if someone reaches out to you and you empower and you say yes, it's a form of mentorship. And I became then a mentor, but like a direct mentor. So I created a group, and I was doing webinars talking about Salesforce, talking about my journey, teaching like basic concepts of Salesforce, showing the path, tips and tricks. Like people still today, they reach out to me and say, oh, I'm stuck and I can't progress. I think the progress phase as well is really hard. And I will talk to them and, try as much as I can to give my advice. So it doesn't mean that it's the right thing, but having someone to share your frustrations and give you maybe an alternative solution. It's really good. And I've been doing that for, almost more than a half of the time that I have my career. I started in 2018, and 2020 I was already a mentor, and I've been mentoring since then.
Mhm.
And always, looking back at the community and finding ways to help people.
That's really great. It's great to hear that. And I think also, as you said, with the whole sort of having the right managers piece as well, I think you made a really important point there, is that managers in many situations, you kind of think of a manager, right, as a boss. But ultimately, I think in today's sort of modern leadership, there's a real, I think, increased need for managers to not be that sort of official mentor, but, to be supportive and help their employees. And I think particularly after, the 2 or 3 years we had going through the pandemic, that's become more important than ever. Is to have sort of true leadership within organizations as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And having an understanding of the individual as well, because each person, like some people will be like me, who want to become mentors, who want to be leaders, but some people, they rather just be, quiet. But if a manager that's kind of a mentor will have this ability to read and to give the freedom of what each individual necessities are.
Okay, that's a good point. It's interesting as well, because I know you're talking about sort of the, things like the gender pay imbalance and that sort of thing, which really is, I think, getting a lot of rightful airplay at the moment as well, in terms of making sure that people get paid a fair wage for the same job, basically. I'm interested when you think about the overall sort of Australian technology industry. Obviously, you read journals, that sort of thing as well. Do you think that the industry at large is doing enough to address that gender imbalance? We see things like, sort of particular sort of diversity targets, that sort of thing within organizations. Is that enough, or do we really need to rethink, if you like, how we actually approach this more broadly as an industry?
I look at what is happening as a positive at the moment. There are a lot of initiatives, and people are learning. The government offers programs as well, and the organizations like Salesforce, they try to spread this energy of diversity. So I like what's happening. I think, of course, there's always a way to improve. So, but then it's up to the organization to sit down and be honest if they are really having the measures to improve diversity and equality, or if they aren't doing enough, or if they are just marketing, they are doing, and not looking at the data properly. But I think it's a movement that it's happening. So I won't say it's not enough, because it's a continuous progress.
Yeah, we can always do better, I think. And I think also, to your point, is that within organizations, quite often it's seen as, a leadership challenge, like the CEO, the board, what do we need to do? But I think really it needs to be a whole of organization approach, doesn't it? Like what does the company culture actually want to see, not just the leaders at the time? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Embrace that in the company mission, the values. It's important. So from multi-level.
So what about if you kind of shift the gear a little bit higher, if you like? So we're talking about obviously women in tech, but when we start thinking about, culturally diverse or different sort of women in technology, you talked about obviously the Latino community who you work with and a mentor and have a peer group there as well. How do you think we can build on some of these initiatives, if you like, more broadly, to not just think about, obviously women or men, but the very different components that go into that as well, to start building, different programs around the sort of diverse cultural levels within organizations as well.
Yeah, this is a bit tricky, because I think diversity and equality really depends on the location you are. So the diverse program in a region will be different than another. From a company would be different from the other. But I think for me, one of the starting points is to look at the recruitment practices, because I like to go into the action, not really talk and flourish. To increase diversity in the company, you need diverse employees, right?
Yeah.
And where are they coming from? From the recruitment process. So look at your recruitment process, look at your team, and evaluate, like, is it diverse? It could be better. What is the reflection of my team with the population of the country I live? Like, is it reflecting or it's not? Because then you will be able to diagnose and have a plan of attack for your company.
It's a classic sort of hiring challenge, isn't it? Because typically, I've been a manager for many years as well, but typically managers will hire in their own image in many ways. We kind of get on with somebody and we feel like, similar to them. But really, it's clear we need to sort of really break down that thinking, because ultimately, if we maintain that thinking, the company itself will not grow and will not evolve, right? So we need to make sure that we're rethinking at the hiring process in many ways, and indeed who we're working with.
Yeah, and the hiring practice, because normally companies, from my experience, they will hire like, oh, we need this specialist in this, and then they will advertise and get that specialist, someone that already is experienced and stuff. So probably that person, it's not part, of a diverse group. So maybe starting an initiative for juniors, like people without experience, and then from there, you will have more freedom to, apply all these concepts. Because if you only hire last minute and you are not actually working towards skilling up people from zero, you won't be able to apply, this, because people who are in a senior level, they're probably, it will be harder to find a diversity there, So, for example, let's suppose we would hire today a CEO, and then you put an advertisement for a CEO. You will probably receive more men, experienced men, because there are more men as CEO, right?
Yeah,
but if you start a program on your company, let's prepare the managers we have to maybe in 10 years, one of them will be capable to become CEO of this company. It's like you are preparing for the future, because it's harder to do it now with the more strategic roles, but you can prepare, it doesn't need to be now, it could be a program in preparation for the future.
So it's kind of almost thinking about not necessarily hiring for a skill, but hiring for capability. That makes sense. It's kind of, I know it sort of sounds similar, but it's really considering what's the outcome, what's the organization trying to achieve, and what sort of person do we need to do that, rather than thinking about we need X, Y, Z skill, I think, in many ways.
Yes. But it involves a lot of preparation, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of preparation, and I think sort of really debunking traditional thinking as well, I think, in how we approach this. That's right. A couple of things I'd like to sort of end on here is that, if you were sort of, I think you're sitting down with yourself 6 years ago, with all you know now, what would maybe be the one or two pieces of advice you'd give yourself with what you know now 6 years ago as you embarked on that career?
It will be for me to be more confident, because we women, Latina women, we receive a lot of people doubt, and then we end up doubting ourselves as well. So I know that looking back, if I was more confident, I would have done a much better job in various instances of my life, and I would have fight back in situations that I was right, but because I wasn't, really confident, I end up, not fighting back some situations. So, like, really be more confident. You're amazing, and you are capable, very capable.
That's great. That's great advice. And I think, I guess conversely to that, so if you and I were to sit down 5 to 10 years from now, assuming we haven't made millions of dollars and we're not working anymore, but we're going to sit down sort of 5 to 10 years from now, what would you have hoped to, what really would you have hoped to achieve by then, Livia? If you think sort of 5 to 10 years from now, what are some of those milestones as a woman in tech you're looking for?
I think I really trust that I have strong leadership skills, and I have the ability to manage and to see the big picture, and I'm very actionable person. So I think I would like to see myself occupying a position that it's like reflects the superpowers I have, So, but it is really hard, like for women in general, especially from my background with the accent, the skin color, everything, to be, and I think not only to be there, but to be a leader in an organization, but to maintain, because people maybe won't respect me, will doubt my capacity as a leader. So it's something that I hope I will find a way to be there, to have that.